Greetings, neurodivergent friends. I realized years and years ago that I was coming off as abrasive, and rather than identify that as a potential growing problem, I recognized that blind spot that I was speaking in a logical way and it was being received in an emotional way. And I just leaned into it because I could tell that something was happening. And basically, I didn't have a healthy way to understand how to speak uh, to people that hear things through an emotional lens. So, unfortunately, I didn't know better. And I did this actively for decades. I leaned in to being abrasive. And then I would even preface myself as I'm abrasive. I'm giving this name out there. I was meaning to sometimes I would say, I know I'm abrasive, just ahead of saying something that where I wasn't leaning into the abrasive part of it, but I would often present myself that way, like literally present myself as abrasive to kind of temper um, the person's expectation uh, in an area where I just have a huge blind spot. I speak with a logical brain. I don't speak or listen with an emotional brain. While I do have emotional responses, it's not aligned with the neurotypical person's speech. So there's just such a huge mismatch there that I don't have it sorted out. But one thing I did figure out is that I am done presenting myself as abrasive and I'm done leaning into that. So when I recognize that something I'm about to say might be abrasive, instead I go the other way. I point out that um, I'm not sure how to say this in an emotionally intelligent way, but I'm trying my best. So instead of leaning into what might have been an inevitable response, I instead lean into what I'm really trying to do, both with my preface and with my actual words. And that's all I can do. I mean, it was hard because I was leaning into that for so long. And then even when I wouldn't lean into it, it would be received as abrasive. And then I'd spend a lot of energy trying to explain and why I wasn't being abrasive. I was just trying my best to speak clearly and accurately and say things in the way that they made sense inside my brain, um, which was a logical way. And, you know, I needed a translator basically. But so I've stopped doing that. If you are someone who speaks uh, to make sure that the point is correct, because maybe like me, you struggle with, I spend so much time ahead of saying something, getting my point clear to where I understand it, and I'm really convicted that that is what I'm trying to say, and that's the healthiest way I know to say it. uh, it's still gonna likely get received a different way. I'm doing better about how I present it though, and how I actually speak it, and then I'm able to speak to an emotional aspect of it. um, that's what I'm doing. It's working for me now. I can't say it's being received that much better because I'm still largely interacting with the same people, um, that are used to taking me a certain way, um, whether I presented it as abrasive or not. But I'm doing what I can, and I'm not presenting myself as abrasive and then spending extra energy trying to figure out why I came off as abrasive, or just not presenting it as abrasive and then trying to figure out why it came off as abrasive. I'm just trying to instead speak to that I recognize there's a disconnect there, that there's a disjointed speech patterns and all kinds of stuff that I don't understand, and that the other person doesn't often understand. at least not enough so much that they could articulate it in a way that can honor the fact that I am doing my best to say something uh, clearly and as kindly as I am capable of doing, and that leave room for the fact that they were genuinely upset by those words, and that's valid too. If it has to say that one of us was gaslighting the other, or that one of us's experience was just invalid, then that's really not a healthy point to be at. So, uh, ideally, I'm doing it in kindness still, and I'm not prefacing it as abrasive, and I'm not leaning into being abrasive, um, and I'm not going to defend my words as much because I can I can acknowledge that it does come across as abrasive sometimes. I'm sorry for that. I'm open to hearing, uh, you know, different pieces of advice that I can take forward. But if it's just complaints about um, the way that my brain works, then I'm still not able to view that as a really a healthy or productive uh, side conversation.